Most people believe retirement pressure fades the moment the house is finally paid off. That final payment feels like a private victory. No banners, no applause, just silence and relief. For decades, the mortgage dictated every decision. Vacations were postponed. Repairs were delayed. Budgets were tight because the bank always came first. So when that last statement arrives, people expect freedom. No more envelopes in the mailbox. No more interest calculations. No more fear that one unexpected setback could cost them the roof over their head. For generations, owning a home outright was the finish line. But today, that finish line has quietly moved. Across the country, retirees are discovering something unsettling, often too late. Paying off your home no longer guarantees you can stay in it. Because once the mortgage disappears, another bill takes its place. It arrives every year. It never expires. And it grows, whether your income does or not. Property taxes. They do not care how long you live there. They do not care that you already paid for the house. They do not care that your income stopped growing years ago. And right now, something profound is happening in America. It is not about chasing sunshine. It is not about downsizing for lifestyle reasons. It is not about moving closer to grandchildren. It is about survival. Retirees are leaving homes they raised families in not because they want something new, but because staying has become financially impossible. This is not happening all at once. There are no dramatic headlines, no mass evacuations, just one moving truck at a time. Entire neighborhoods in high-tax regions are slowly emptying. Homes passed down through generations are being sold under pressure. Communities are aging out, then hollowing out. And the most painful truth? You can own your home outright and still be priced out of it. Most Americans assume every state treats retirees more or less the same. They believe property tax systems are universal, that relief programs are temporary, that exemptions are complicated, limited, or unreliable. That assumption is wrong. A small number of places made a radical decision. They did not cap property taxes. They did not freeze assessments. They did not offer partial rebates. They eliminated property taxes for retirees entirely. No annual bills. No creeping increases. No expiration dates. Once the word started spreading through retirement communities, church conversations, and quiet kitchen table math people began to move. Not impulsively, not recklessly, deliberately. A woman in her early 70s left a coastal state after paying nearly $15,000 each year just to remain in a house she had owned since the early 1990s. Her new property tax bill is zero. Over the rest of her life, she keeps nearly $300,000 that would have otherwise vanished. A retired couple in the Northeast had been paying close to $19,000 annually on a modest home bought decades earlier. They relocated quietly. Over the remainder of their retirement, they preserve more than $350,000. This is not a trend. It is an exit strategy. And the states losing retirees are starting to feel it. Because when older residents leave, they take more than furniture. They take steady local spending. They take volunteer time. They take civic stability. Today you are going to learn about 5 places that rewrote the rules, why they did it, who qualifies, and what most people are not being warned about. Because opportunities like this rarely stay open forever. How the system quietly turned against retirees. This shift did not begin with generosity. It began with arithmetic. Over the past 20 years, property taxes have risen at a pace fixed incomes simply cannot match. In the early 2000s, the average retiree paid under $3,000 per year. By the mid-2020s, that figure had doubled nationwide. In certain states, it tripled. $10,000, $13,000, $17,000 per year on homes that were already paid off. At the same time, retirement income barely moved. Social Security adjustments lagged behind housing costs. Traditional pensions shrank or vanished. Healthcare expenses rose faster than inflation. Insurance costs exploded. Retirees were not overspending. They were not upgrading lifestyles. They were not making reckless decisions. They were simply aging in place. And slowly, invisibly, the system began pushing them out. More seniors fell behind on property taxes. Some drained savings meant for emergencies or children. Others sold homes they had owned, free and clear. State governments saw the same data. Most did nothing. 5 places chose a different path. They did not soften the burden, they erased it. Number 1. Cedar Ridge, Tennessee. Cedar Ridge does not advertise itself loudly. It sits quietly among rolling hills, old rail corridors, and small manufacturing hubs that once powered the region. For years, it was overlooked, and that turned out to be its greatest advantage. Tennessee already offered retirees something valuable: no state income tax, relatively modest housing prices, and expanding healthcare networks. But Cedar Ridge went further. Local leaders recognized something many governments ignored. Retirees are not a fiscal drain. They do not require school expansions. They do not compete for entry-level jobs. They do not strain employment systems. They bring savings. They bring predictable spending. They bring long-term stability. So Cedar Ridge partnered with state officials to implement one of the most aggressive retiree protections in the region. Once a resident reaches retirement age and establishes primary residency, property taxes on that home are eliminated completely. Not reduced, not frozen. Gone. Funding comes from consumption taxes, regional tourism, and business growth. But the deeper strategy is long-term balance. If retirees feel secure, they stay. If they stay, wealth circulates locally. If wealth stays, communities stabilize. The results are already visible. Cedar Ridge has seen steady arrivals from the Midwest and Northeast retirees, leaving high tax areas not for luxury, but for certainty. For many, Cedar Ridge offers something rare: a future where aging does not feel like a financial penalty. Number 2. High Plains Crossing, Wyoming. High Plains Crossing did not announce its decision with fanfare. There were no press events, no national coverage, no marketing campaigns, just a quiet update to the tax code. Wyoming has faced population challenges for decades. Young adults leave for larger cities. Small towns shrink. Public services stretch thin. Local officials faced an uncomfortable reality. Without retirees, entire regions would collapse. So, High Plains Crossing removed property taxes for qualifying retirees permanently. No income thresholds, no annual renewals, no sliding scales. If you qualify once, you are done. The city funds this through mineral royalties, energy extraction agreements that allow Wyoming to operate differently than most states. Early data shows retirees arriving from neighboring mountain states and the West Coast. They are not chasing luxury. They are chasing peace. Yes, winters are harsh, but for someone watching their tax bill rise faster than their income, cold weather feels manageable compared to constant anxiety. Number 3. Arroyo Mesa, Texas. Arroyo Mesa did not choose this path willingly. It was forced. Over the last 2 decades, property values across Texas surged dramatically. Homes bought in the 1990s for modest amounts were suddenly assessed at 3 or 4 times their original value. The problem was not wealth, it was paper value. Retirees were being taxed on equity they could not access. Then came a moment that shifted everything. At a local hearing, a retired school teacher stood up and said one sentence that spread across the state: "I already paid for my house. Why am I being charged rent to live in it?" That question resonated. Within months, Texas passed one of the strongest senior property tax eliminations in the country. If you are 65 or older and the home is your primary residence, your property tax bill becomes zero. No income caps, no value limits, no phase-ins. Arroyo Mesa was among the earliest adopters. The city is betting that growth will replace lost revenue. For retirees, ownership finally means security again. Number 4. Harbor Point, Florida. For decades, Harbor Point sold a simple dream: mild winters, palm-lined streets. A slower pace after decades of work. Retirees arrived steadily, some after years of planning, others simply following friends who had gone before them. For a long time, the numbers worked. Property taxes were manageable. Insurance was predictable. Maintenance costs felt reasonable. Then things began to change. Insurance premiums surged. Storm mitigation costs climbed. Assessments rose faster than incomes. Homeowners who had moved to Harbor Point in the 1980s and 90s found themselves paying amounts that felt eerily similar to full-time wages just to remain in homes they had owned outright for years. Local officials noticed something alarming. Longtime residents were leaving faster than new retirees were arriving. Entire streets were turning over. Community cohesion was weakening. Harbor Point faced a difficult choice: protect short-term revenue or protect long-term stability. The city chose stability. Property taxes for qualifying retirees were eliminated permanently, not capped, not phased down, removed. The decision was not rooted in generosity, it was rooted in urgency. Florida's economy depends heavily on retirees, not just for housing, but for healthcare systems, local spending, volunteer networks, and civic engagement. To offset the shift, Harbor Point leaned more heavily on tourism revenue, consumption taxes, and development fees. The burden moved. Younger residents felt it. Renters felt it. New homeowners felt it. For retirees already in Harbor Point, the change was transformative. For the city as a whole, it became a delicate balancing act, one that continues today. Number 5. Northfield Prairie, North Dakota. Northfield Prairie was never intended to be a retirement destination. Winters are long, distances are wide. The pace of life is slow, sometimes uncomfortably so for newcomers. But Northfield Prairie offers something increasingly rare: predictability. For years, local leaders watched their population age rapidly. Young people left for larger cities. Schools consolidated. Medical access thinned. Then a harsher realization set in: if retirees leave too, the region collapses faster. So Northfield Prairie did something few expected. It eliminated property taxes entirely for qualifying retirees. No partial exemptions. No temporary relief. A permanent removal. Funding comes from energy royalties and federal partnerships, a structure not without risk, but one leaders believed was preferable to decline. And something unexpected happened. Retirees began arriving, not in waves, not in headlines, but steadily. People who valued quiet over convenience, certainty over excitement, stability over spectacle. Northfield Prairie does not promise luxury. It promises that the cost of living will not chase you as you age. For many retirees, that promise outweighs every amenity. Who actually qualifies? Despite how dramatic these programs sound, the requirements are far more straightforward than most people expect. Age requirement. Most locations set eligibility at 65. Some allow earlier access under specific circumstances, but 65 remains the standard threshold. Primary residence. The home must be your main residence. In practical terms, this means living there at least 6 months out of the year. Vacation homes do not qualify. Seasonal properties do not qualify. These programs are designed for long-term community members. Ownership. You must own the home. Fully paid-off properties qualify. Homes with remaining mortgages often qualify as well. Rental properties and investment homes are excluded. Income limits. This is where many people are shocked. Most of these cities do not impose income limits. Whether your retirement income is modest or substantial, eligibility does not change. The goal is stability, not means testing. Application process. In most cases, the exemption requires a one-time filing with the local tax authority. Proof of age. Proof of residency. Proof of ownership. Once approved, the exemption remains in place unless you sell the home or relocate. The process is intentionally simple. These places want retirees, and they want them to stay. The risks few people talk about. Eliminating property taxes sounds like a perfect solution. It is not. Ignoring the trade-offs can lead to disappointment. Risk 1. Rising secondary costs. Zero property taxes do not mean low overall expenses. Insurance costs in coastal regions have surged dramatically. Utilities in hot climates can be expensive year-round. Heating costs in colder regions can be substantial. Savings must be evaluated holistically. A zero tax bill does not guarantee affordability. Risk 2. Long-term sustainability. Every city is betting on something. Tourism, population growth, energy revenue, federal support. If those revenue streams weaken, adjustments may follow. Permanent policies depend on budgets. Risk 3. Service reductions. Some communities have already trimmed public services. Libraries operate fewer hours. Public transit options shrink. Infrastructure upgrades are delayed. Lower taxes sometimes mean fewer amenities. Risk 4. Burden shifts. When one group pays less, another group often pays more. Younger residents, renters, new homeowners. Over time, this can alter community dynamics and political pressure. Understanding these shifts matters before relocating. A real decision, not a dream. Marilyn is 70 years old. She spent more than 3 decades in the same Midwestern city. Her house was paid off. Her routines were familiar. Her neighbors were lifelong friends. But her property taxes climbed past $12,000 per year. She ran the numbers. Over 20 years, she would lose nearly $250,000 just to stay. She did not panic. She researched. She visited 3 cities, talked with residents, reviewed utility bills, asked difficult questions. This spring, Marilyn is moving to Northfield Prairie. Her property tax bill will be 0. When asked how she felt, her response was simple. "I already paid for my house. I just want to live in it." How to decide if this path is right for you. This decision is deeply personal, but a clear framework helps. Step 1. Calculate your current burden. Multiply your annual property tax by 20 years. That number often changes how people think. Step 2. Compare total living costs. Look beyond taxes. Insurance, utilities, healthcare access, transportation. Step 3. Visit before committing. Online research can mislead. Reality cannot. Walk neighborhoods. Visit grocery stores. Talk to locals. Step 4. Understand the paperwork. Know exactly what qualifies. Know deadlines. Know who to contact. Step 5. Speak with a professional. Relocation affects taxes, healthcare, estate planning, and family logistics. Expert guidance matters. The bigger picture. 5 cities made a deliberate choice. They decided aging should not be punished. They decided ownership should mean security. They decided retirees are worth competing for. This movement is spreading quietly, not through headlines, not through trends, through conversations. If rising property taxes are squeezing your retirement, this information matters. But action should be careful, informed, and deliberate. Research thoroughly, verify locally, plan realistically. Because for many retirees, this is not about saving money. It is about staying housed. It is about dignity. It is about finally enjoying the home they already paid for. Thank you for taking the time to read. Share this with someone who may need it. And until next time, take care. Disclaimer: this content is provided for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute legal, financial, or tax advice. Property tax laws vary by location and may change over time. Eligibility requirements, exemptions, and application processes differ by jurisdiction. Always consult a qualified tax professional, financial advisor, or attorney before making relocation or tax-related decisions. Individual circumstances vary, and outcomes are not guaranteed.